All right, what's good, y'all? So Sha'Carri Richardson just ran 10.77 seconds in the 100 meters. So I want to kind of break that race down, the implications to a degree, but also put it in context of the wider landscape of the women's 100 meters, because now we actually have all the top women having opened up their 100 meter season and running pretty good times across the board, right? Sha'Carri Richardson, Shericka Jackson, Tina Clayton, Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, Julian Alfred, and then I'll talk about Elaine a little bit as well. I did talk about her in relation to Jamaican trials, but we'll get to that in a second. So we'll start off with Sha'Carri and then move over to kind of the women's 100 meter landscape. But first off, just some quick highlights from the meet. We did see Brandon Hicklin. He ran 19.92 seconds in the men's 200. You also saw Sam Blaskowski. He ran 19.93 seconds in the 200 as well. Both of those were legal. Great performances. I think Christian Coleman was just behind with like 20.03. And then on the men's 100 side, we saw Courtney Lindsay. He ran 9.89 seconds. And PJ Austin, he ran sub 10, 9.99 seconds. Those were primarily the high quality performances. And also Shawnee Miller-Weibo, she finished second place to Sha'Carri, running 11.05 seconds, which I think is like her third or fourth best time of her entire career, because she's run sub 11, 10.98 as a personal best. But let's talk about Sha'Carri. So 10.77 seconds. Now, we had just seen her at the the LA Grand Prix. She had run 10.9 seconds as her 100 meter opener for the year. Obviously, she had run those 200 meter races in China, 22.4 a couple times, and it was like in the middle of the pack, finishing fourth place. But for her 100 meter opener, that was a good performance. I think all things considered, it was a pretty good performance, nothing spectacular. Now, this one, I think, at least confirms Sha'Carri is back into her old form. From what I remember, this was her fastest time since the Olympic trials in 2024, right? Where she ran the world lead of 10.71 seconds to win the Olympic trials there in 2024. And then of course we know in 2025, she was dealing with some setbacks and injuries, so never ran 10.7 or anything like that. Now, this was, all things considered, I think a pretty good race. There was a little bit of a tailwind, 0.3, but essentially negligible. When I talk about Shericka, we'll see. Well, for context, Shericka ran her 10.81 at Jamaican national champs into a negative 0.3 headwind. Sha'Carri ran this 10.77 with a plus 0.3 tailwind. I think these performances, like just on an individual basis, someone could, do the cross check, but like these are probably like the exact same race, right? If you just like convert the times, Shericka would have run 10.7 with a slight tailwind if she had it. But all that aside, I think that after that 100 meter opener from Sha'Carri, as I was saying in my recap of that, I think she needed that to kind of build up her confidence once again. Obviously, who knows what she's thinking from an individual level, but she is one of those top tier athletes, being the world champion from 2023, the Olympic silver medalist from 2024. So her setbacks in 2025, even though she made the final and finished in fifth place, there was still an aspect of like, these women are potentially getting away from her when it comes to the conversation. So now getting this 10.7, getting that season opener, beating out all the other, women, it wasn't a super, super high quality field, but then coming here, not a super high quality field, but she put down a good time that's in line with what other women have been able to do. That gives a good indication that like, okay, I am back right in the same conversation as all the other women and in the zeitgeist of like, okay, back for that gold medal. Now, there's no Worlds or Olympics this year. We'll talk about World Ultimates in a second, but just getting back into the conversation for Sha'Carri and also for the public, I think is and was very important, coming off this 10.77. Now, in terms of the actual race, I don't know. All I saw was a head-on shot. I didn't watch like the full thing. I only saw like a head-on shot posted on Instagram. So I don't know. Someone could like break down the whole thing, but Sha'Carri looked like Sha'Carri. I don't know if she got like an amazing start, or better than what she usually does in terms of, she doesn't get a great start, but I think her being able to get to a time like this, again, just once again proves that she is back into some good form and she's she's healthy, right? I don't know what 100% healthy might be, but she is healthy. Now, on the flip side, there is still, this now adds to the very, very complicated conversation as it relates to the women's 100 meters. Complicated, but also very interesting, in my opinion, because of how much depth there is at the very, very top level. So looking at the landscape, you have Sha'Carri Richardson. She's run 10.77 seconds this year. You have, you have Shericka Jackson. She ran 10.81 seconds this year already. You have Tina Clayton. She's run 10.85 seconds on 2 separate occasions this year already, right? Once in Rabat, and then once again finishing second to Shericka at Jamaican National Champs. Then you have Melissa Jefferson-Wooden. She ran 10.84 seconds, if I'm correct, in her 100-meter opener out in Stockholm, right? Then you have Julian Alfred. Windy, slightly windy, but she ran 10.73 or 7, I think 10.73, right? Someone cross-check me on that. I think it was 10.73 or 7.6, something like that. Something in the 10.7 range from Julian Alfred in Oslo, right? So there's that. And I think that's like the big three. And then you obviously are the big names, right? And then you obviously have Elaine Thompson-Herah, who ran 10.92 earlier in the year, but she pulled out of the final at the Jamaican National Champs after making it there. So there's question marks there. If you look at all these different women, you have a whole mix of women who have either won gold, silver, or bronze at the past couple global championships from 2021 all the way up to 2025 now last year, and they have all run at least 10.7 or faster, right? Tina Clayton, 10.76. Shericka Jackson and Sha'Carri Richardson, 10.65. Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, 10.61. Julian Alfred, 10.71, right? Elaine Thompson-Herah, obviously 10.54 from some years back, but, you know, all of that. So this era of sprinting on the women's side is very, very competitive. And I think there's a lot, just like the men, I think that it's like almost a grab bag on who actually would be, you know, end up by the end of the year being like the best women or best women on top, right? The gold medal favorite, or by the end of 2027, gold medal favorite, you know, gold medalist at the Worlds, at the Olympics, et cetera, et cetera. I think some of the past years where you had the Elaines and you had the Shelleys, that kind of, I think, skewed our perception going into this generation where we had so much dominance, where it was Shelley, Elaine, Shelley, Elaine, Shelley, Elaine. Shericka entered the conversation, but she never won a gold medal, but she was still running 10.7s while running, she was still running 10.7s while getting silver medals. Now there's so much, you know, kind of back and forth, and I think question marks across the board, very similar to as it is for the men, where, you know, Noah probably has been the most consistent with his 2 gold medals, but then you have the Kashanes, then you have the Obliques. Prior to that, you had the Freds, right? Like, obviously Marcel won in 2021. I think we are looking at a generation of women right now where it's a complete flip of the coin. Maybe not flip of the coin truly, but any of those women winning a gold medal looking in 2027, 2028 would not be a surprise. Elaine, I think, has more question marks. I'm probably not going to talk much about her because I just don't know what's up with Elaine. But all these women, I think, bring a level of competition that makes it very, very interesting as we look forward. Now, I did say this on, I think, my previous live stream where I was like, yo, why is it that all these top women are not racing each other individually on the circuit, right? Like, we saw Melissa in Stockholm, we saw Julian in Oslo, we saw, Tina Clayton was in Rabat, we see Sha'Carri, you know, in LA and now in Florida. It's like, what's going on, y'all, right? And the only reason Shericka and Tina actually ran is because they were at national championships, right? It's like the required thing to actually do. So I don't know. I want to see them actually race. But that then leads to my later point. Now, Julian and Melissa are actually going to race a few times this year at Diamond Leagues. But my kind of ultimate point, no pun intended, is that we also don't know 100% who all is going to the Ultimate Championships. Now, Shericka Jackson, she confirmed that she's not going to the Commonwealth Games. Shout out to everyone who was commenting. I recorded my video yesterday. I didn't watch anything except the race. So, you know, I just saw the interview this morning. So she's not going to Commonwealth Games. Julian Alfred, complete question mark on if she's going to Commonwealth Games. Tina Clayton, who knows if she's going to Commonwealth Games. I'm going to venture to guess they probably both are not. Now, when it looks to Ultimate Championships, the only athlete that we know confirmed is going to World Ultimates, the 2 of them are Julian and Melissa, right? They have actually vocally come out and said, yeah, we're going to the World Ultimate Champs. Melissa Jefferson-Wooden is like an ambassador, you know, for World Athletics as part of the champs. So we know that for sure. But we just have to assume Sharika is going, because when she was asked about it, she was like, you know, I'm just trying to have fun. I know for a fact Commonwealth Games is not in those plans, but she didn't mention Ultimate Champs, right? Sha'Carri Richardson, who knows, right, if Ultimate Champs are going to be in her plans. I assume Tina Clayton is probably going to have it in her plans, but we just don't have confirmation on it. At some point, I'm going to talk more about the Ultimate Champs, but I do actually think, even if I have some slight criticisms about its structure, or I don't know, I have some criticisms of it, I do actually really like the idea of Ultimate Champs and the opportunity to see all the top athletes in the world, like a true like ultimate world champs, right? You know, the best athletes, as many, you know, from just the top 16, you know, in the world in terms of world rankings at least. I want to see all these top women racing because of how questionable it is in terms of who is truly the best women in the world, right? We don't have a world champs, we don't have Olympics, so there's no gold medal, whatever. I want to see the best women in the world actually line up and race each other at one meet and see, you know, who comes out the winner, just like we see at Worlds and Olympics. So that's something that I am really looking forward to. But overall, I'm actually very excited about Sha'Carri now getting back into the 10.7s because, as I said, we are now looking at this is just another entrance of all the best women in the world, seemingly all healthy right now, all, you know, looking to be running 10.7s, you know, sooner than later. You know, obviously, I think, you know, Sharika and Tina Clayton, they're on their path to get back there. If they had the win switch, they probably both would have run 10.7. So that's what I really want to see, all of them back. And of course, Melissa has to do it, whatever. Julian has to do it legally. My bad. You know what I'm talking about, though. So I just am very excited for all of that. And again, I think I might have taken for granted how Jamaica has been so dominant on the women's side for since dating back all the way to 2008. So that was actually, now we're in an era where it's like, yo, it is very open. Like, there's a lot of competition. It's a huge question mark on who actually is the best. There's no one who's actually the best. You can look at Melissa last year because she absolutely dominated it. But I mean, I don't know. Like, yeah, she ran 10.61, and yes, she beat everyone that she could on the circuit and at every championships. But there's a world where Sharika and Sha'Carri are like, yo, we gonna get back into personal best form, and now we gonna run, you know, 10.6, right? There's a world where Julian Alfred, I think she hasn't reached her potential. Her personal best is only 10.72, right? I think she should be much faster than that. She really should be a 10.6 runner at this point. And with what she's doing in the 200, you know that the 100, you know, meters is coming down, right? Tina Clayton, I think, is more than likely to get into the 10.6s sooner than later. I didn't even mention Adeja Hodge, obviously, because she's in the NCAA, but like, who knows what I'm not putting in the conversation for this year, but it's just an idea of like, who knows what actually might come into fruition when all these women are running on all cylinders. So we'll see what does pan out. But yeah, just a quick video again. Obviously, I'm not, you know, where I'm usually at, so just wanted to get something out real quick. But yeah, let me know what you think about Sha'Carri with her 10.77 and this women's 100 meters overall. But appreciate y'all.